Hello, my name is Pedro Suarez. I am a Jesuit priest and I am also a mathematician. I am very happy to share with you some of the thoughts that are on my mind, and especially what is the relationship between mathematics and religion, or math and God, if you wish. I think that one of the things that you think when you're doing mathematics is, if I can think of these things, how much greater is God's mind, who can encompass it all, who can cover so much more ground. And so your faith is not only, it's not tested at all, but your faith is enlarged to a great extent, because you can think of God as a great, great mind who, on top of that, is all love and mercy. And so your vision of faith is not diminished, on the contrary, is enhanced, and it's increased because of the fact that you can see both the meaning of faith and the meaning of religion and the meaning of mathematics. It's a feeling that you feel very happy being both a religious and a mathematician, and the two things go together. They're not divorced or separate in any significant way. I have been a priest for 50 years now, and right after I was ordained, I started out on a program to get a PhD in mathematics. And when I was ordained, I already had received both my bachelor's and my master's degree in mathematics. And it was not my idea to go into mathematics. I had studied before I entered the Jesuits. I had 3 years of engineering, and so I liked mathematics. But when I became a Jesuit, I had the impression that math was left behind, and I was only going to theology and philosophy and counseling and that type of thing. I thought that math was not necessarily part of my being from that point on. And it was one provincial first who assigned me to study mathematics, and so I did. And then there was a second provincial when I was in theology that told me, go right ahead, don't stop there, get your doctorate. And that's why I went on and got a doctorate. So in a real sense, I did not ask for mathematics, and I felt that I never did. And on the other hand, I also realized that I was good at it and I liked it. And so it was no problem for me to continue on being very obedient, in quotes, to the provincials. And so here I am. I am now retired from teaching full time at a university, but I'm helping out as a counselor, as a confessor, and saying mass at a parish. And so I'm now more fulfilling my priestly side than my mathematician's side, although I keep on reading mathematics and tutoring and that type of thing. I taught mathematics for 50 years. Well, I have in front of me a very tight synopsis or summary of my dissertation, and the name of this paper is A Tower of Spectra That Realizes a Chain Complex. Well, there are many mysterious words there, which I would have to start explaining or defining for you, but I will not do that. It's gets to be too complicated.
Peter, I almost say it as I take a quick look at it. I could almost say it's Greek to me, but I do know a little Greek, whereas I know absolutely nothing of what you have there. But I admire it very much.
Well,
piece of work.
this is the problem with any dissertation in mathematics is that it's almost illegible to anyone who has not read it. Anyway, this is part of an area of mathematics called algebraic topology. I had to do it by building up a tower. That's why the title of the paper is A Tower of Spectra. And at each level, you have a spectrum.
I can see your fascination with the beauty of mathematics, especially this area that you're working on in your dissertation. How does that relate to your spiritual life, your vitality with God in your prayer, or finding God?
I think it is fascinating to me more than anybody else to see how this experience of writing a dissertation has to do with finding God in all things, as St. Ignatius proposed. Because I think that you can see God in everything he does, and every time that I had to move on, one step at a time, going on to building this tower of spectra, I realize how much greater God's mind is. If I can think of these things that few people think about or consider worthwhile, how much further God goes and understands and gives the flavor and the talent and the desire to do these things. And so infinite God becomes very much present in the work I did, at least to my liking. And then you can communicate this experience of experiencing God in this sense, not only in prayer or in mystical gifts that God may give, but also in science and in the fact that you can construct things that convey the presence of God in the world. It is, to me, it was quite interesting that I never saw a conflict between my faith and math. On the contrary, one sort of pushed the other and made it increase. And so I'm happy to convey this to you, to report this, that God is infinite, God is wonderful, God is infinitely wise, and at the same time, He's infinitely merciful and infinitely good, and inspires us to do so many things, not only in the area of moral behavior or charity towards others or mercy, but also in the area of intellectual pursuits, such as mathematics. Sometimes it's more complicated, sometimes it's less. But in any case, it is a very interesting experience to perceive these two sides of reality and to make it to you, you are becoming aware that this whole thing is just a whole being, a whole bunch of things that come together and make you aware of the infinity of God and the infinity of the human mind as well.
Now, do you find yourself drawn toward the physical sciences as well? You studied, was it engineering you studied before you entered?
Before I entered.
The Jesuit.
Actually, it's once you enter into this world, this has some applications. At least I know some people have said so and have found applications of the area of research, which is called algebraic topology. But to me, it just doesn't need to. It doesn't have to be that, because you find that it's something worth studying in its own way, in its own right, without having to apply to anything. It does. Knowing algebraic topology, you cannot build a house or a bridge or a building, but it helps you understand the infinite mind that God has. It sort of reflects the infinite power and the infinite capacity of God's mind.
So it's all part of the search for truth and beauty.
Yes,
truth
yes.
and beauty go together and reflect the being of God.
And the funny thing is that the more you know, the more you wish to know. It's like if you had a way of knowing something about God, You want to know more about him. You want to know more about whether he's creator or redeemer or what is he? What does he do for us? And mathematics helps you to see that. There's an infinite capacity for learning, not only about science or mathematics, but learning about God Himself. And that is a good thing.